So,
yes, we can start. You can.
Good evening, everyone. I welcome everyone for today's Recall and Revise Marathon session, CA Intermediate Paper 7A, Enterprise Information Systems. I'm Deepashri, a CA Finance student. I'm very happy to host this session. I'm delighted to welcome CA SJ John Kennedy Sir for today's session, and I welcome all the participants. The qualifications of SJ John Kennedy Sir are MBA, he's a fellow chartered accountant, PGD CCIS, MCSE, RHCE, CCNA. He's a diploma in information systems audit and a certified information systems auditor. Serving the Tamil Nadu Police as a deputy superintendent of police, he takes every opportunity to serve his alma mater by teaching students, interacting and motivating them in every possible way. Recently, he has been announced as the receiver of the President Award for his meritorious service. Sir, I now request you to proceed the session further.
yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So, good evening, all dear friends. I thank the Institute and the SICASA members for giving me an opportunity. So, this session being a 2-hour session, let us quickly scroll through whatever maximum possible. So, let me start with chapter number 3, and then we'll go to 4, and then we'll go to 5, and I'll come back to 2 and 1. So, by the way, we'll see 2 problems in the flowchart also. So, for better benefits, let me switch off the camera so that we can have a clear understanding. Now, so the chapter number 3. So we have to understand what is system. System is nothing but a mutually related, defined boundary, having common goal, receiving input and giving output because of the processes what we are doing. So that's referred as a computer system. So we have input, process, output, feedback and control. That is what is the system basically. Normally we give some data to the system. System is having operating software as well as application software, which will do processing and gives you the output. So it is consisting of people, hardware, software, communication devices, network, and data resources. So the people are the persons who are using the computers, developing the software, and networking people, everything. Hardware is nothing but input devices, processing devices, output devices, storage devices, as well as transmission devices. I normally call these as iPost, IPOST. Now, this iPost will be operated by a set of instructions. So that is referred as software. Set of instruction is referred as software. So this is how the computer does the processing, like input devices. There is a control unit, arithmetic logic unit, memory unit in the CPU. So all of you may be thinking that the box what we are seeing is CPU, but it is not so. The processor is kept inside the motherboard. The processor is having 3 units, namely control unit, arithmetic logic unit, memory units. So control unit controls all the activities. What are the activities? IPOST, as I said earlier, IPOST. IPOST. I for input, P for processing, O for output, S for storage, and T for transmission. All these activities will be activated and controlled by the control unit. Then arithmetic logic unit will do arithmetic operations as well as logical operations. What is logical operations? It will compare certain parameters and arrive at a decision. For example, if you want to tax a person, you will decide upon the sources of income, nature of person, namely individual, firm, company, etc. Then you will see what are the sources of income. Then finally, you will arrive at the decision of what is the total income. Then on that, you will calculate the tax. So the calculation part is done by arithmetic unit, whereas the other computation part is taken care of by the logic unit. So both are combined together, arithmetic and logic unit. Then ultimately the results will be displayed either in the printer or in the monitor, or if you want to send it to some other devices, that will be displayed in some other device, including printers. So that is output devices. And then storage, you are having a primary storage, secondary storage. Primary storage is meant for temporarily storing the data. Secondary storage is meant for permanently storing the data. So you will store the data either permanently or primarily. Primary storage means once the computer is switch off, that will be removed from the computer. Whereas secondary storage, that will be stored permanently, like CD, DVD, pen drive, flash drive, and all kinds of storage devices. Now the transmission is, if you want to share the data from one computer to another computer, you need to have the transmissions. For transmissions, you will have switch, hub, routers, bridges, and various other devices which are meant for network communications. That will be transmitting data in the form of packets, data packets. So the data will normally be converted into small packets called as data packets that will be serially numbered. And every data packet will be having the IP addresses, namely the to address and from address, and it will be forwarded using TCP/IP mechanism, and then it will be received by the other computers. The other computers will reassemble all the data packets, and the data will be displayed as we need. So that is transmission part. So all these activities are performed by operating system software. Now, what is application software? You have the Tally is the best example for application software. The accounting operations are carried out by set of specific instructions. So debit, credit, purchase, sales, receipt, payment, contra, stock, inventory creations, inventory maintenance, and then balance sheet preparations, profit and loss account preparations, cash flow fund. All these things are done by Tally software. So that is referred as application software. So basically, we are having two software, namely system software and application software. System software is meant for operating the IPOST, input, process, output, storage, and transmission devices, namely the hardware devices. Now, data storing devices, as we had seen, cache memory, primary memory, or main memory. Students should note that it may be asked as a MCQ also. Primary memory is consisting of RAM and ROM. You see the last portion, RAM and ROM. Normally, students will think that ROM means read-only memory, therefore it is a secondary memory. It is not so. Basically, that is stored forever. The information which is stored in ROM will be permanent in nature, but it comes under the category of primary memory or RAM memory because it stores a vital information normally where the system software, that is operating system, is stored. That information is stored in the ROM. Every time whenever the computer is booting, that will be used. So if you go deep further into this, it will take time. Therefore, I am shortcutting it. Understand RAM and ROM are part of primary memory. It is otherwise called as main memory also. Main memory. Then we will see what is cache memory. Cache memory is a smaller, faster memory. It stores copy of the data from the most frequently used main memory location so that processor registers can access more rapidly than main memory. So it is inside the CPU, but this is little faster. So that is the work of cache memory. So in internal memory, we are having two, cache memory and primary memory or main memory. Cache memory is to bridge the speed difference between the registers and primary memory, whereas primary memory is to store the data in a temporary manner. So secondary storage, as I mentioned, it's permanent nature. Third thing is virtual memory. So this also a possible question. So let me spend a few minutes on this because it is coming in our chapter number 4 also. What is virtual memory? imaginary memory supported by some operating system. Imaginary memory supported by some operating system. So they are giving an example. If a computer lacks required space in the random access memory, Windows uses virtual memory to compensate. So when RAM runs low, virtual memory moves the data from RAM to a space called as paging file. You have to remember this word, paging file. If a person asks a technical person is asking a question, this is very important, paging file. Moving data from the paging file frees up the RAM to complete its work. So let me explain with a small example so that you will understand easily. Um, I'll share this and we will discuss. Yeah. So assume that this is a storage device. Now, this is a primary memory. Assume this primary memory is having, let's say, 2 GB storage. And let's assume that this is a secondary storage device. Let's assume it is 1 TB. Now, the processor is there. This is a processor, let's assume. And this is kept inside the motherboard. Now, this processor needs the round thing is called as processor. I'll just say CPU. When CPU is processing the data, it will be sending it to the RAM or primary storage. Now, primary storage, as I said, it is 2 GB only. Now, assume that you need to have 3 GB of memory. So, it is possible to buy a 4 GB memory, 8 GB memory, etc. But in our example, to make you understand, I'm just taking your lowest possible memory. Now, assume that 3 GB memory is needed. So, this 2 GB is not sufficient for the data to be processed, which is there inside the CPU. Normally, it is taken here. It will be processed, and when process is over, it will be taken to this secondary storage. Let's say C drive, D drive, etc. So this is C, this is D, this is E, and the like, F. All these drives are there to store the data. In this scenario, 2 GB is not sufficient. Therefore, what does the computer do? There is some concept called as virtual memory. So it will borrow, let us say, 1 GB from this portion. And this will couple along with this, integrate along with this. This will become 3 GB now. So this portion is considered to be paging file. This portion is considered to be paging file. Now the data will be taken from CPU to this RAM. This is RAM actually. So this RAM will be processing the data and ultimately it will be stored here. So this is how virtual file is created. How virtual is created? It is borrowed from the space which is available in this C drive or D drive, whatever it is, and a portion of it is added along with the RAM, and thereby a new paging file is created. So if you read it again, you will understand it normally. I think it is not seen. Let me share this. So now we will read it. Virtual memory is in fact not a separate device, but an imaginary area supported with some operating system if a computer lacks in required size of the random access memory needed to run a program or operation, Windows uses virtual memory to compensate. So when virtual memory combines computer's RAM with temporary space on the hard disk, you have to remember this word, temporary space on the hard disk. When the RAM runs low, virtual memory moves the data from RAM to space called paging file. So that's what I explained here. Now we'll move on to the next slide. So register cache primary, I have explained. Now this is sometimes asked as a 2-mark questions. I'll quickly scroll through this. RAM and ROM difference. So the red lines alone I'm reading just for understanding. So RAM normally volatile in nature. ROM non-volatile. Non-volatile means it is not erased. Second thing, it is to hold the program and data while they are in use. That is during the time of processing. Suppose you are giving some data, let's say 5 numbers you are giving, and you want to add it, or you want to multiply it, or you want to take an average. Whatever you want to do, that is the processing is going on. So while the processing is going on, the area where you store the data is called as RAM. ROM used to store small amount of information for quick reference by CPU. So as I said, the booting information will be stored in the ROM for that quick reference by the CPU. Third one, it is read as well as modified. What is modified? It can be altered, changed, whereas ROM cannot be modified. The fourth one is responsible for storing the instructions and data that the computer is using at the present moment. This is important. Present moment means right now, while the processing is going on. Whereas in read-only memory, generally used by the manufacturers to store the data and programs like translators, that is used repeatedly. So as I said, during the time of booting, whenever you want to boot the computer, you have to go to the operating system, let's say Windows, Macintosh, Linux, etc. So that will be done by this ROM. So this is a major difference we could see in the RAM and ROM. So these are all small things which you can see. As I said earlier, software is a set of instructions that tell the hardware what to do. Operating system is a set of computer programs that the computer hardware resources and acts as the interface between the computer user and the programs. So this is little important. Activities carried out by the OS operating system or executed by the operating system. Number one, separate hardware functions. Number two, user interfaces. Hardware functions, all of you know, therefore I'm not repeating it. What is user interface? When you and I want to talk to the computers, that is, you want to give a command, right click. So here certain commands are seen, no? This is the command. It is nothing but you are able to see the command itself, or you will be able to see the menu. That's what is referred as GUI, graphical user interface. Whereas if you give certain other commands like CLI, command line interface. What is command line interface? Say for example, now we are able to see the command prompt. Now I say IP config space /. It's a small command I'm giving. Now it is disclosing various information. For a single command, it is giving you a lot of information. And I say exit or I say CLS, clear the screen. I give a command to clear the screen, it clears. Now I say you want to exit, that is go out, it is escaping. It's going out. Now this is how we can operate we can give command to the computers, that is CLI, command line interface. The third one is hardware independence. What do you mean by hardware independence? Sometime back I mentioned about the CPU, central processing unit. The central processing unit is nothing but your brain, heart and brain of the computer. So the brain is sensing something and it is performing something. So based upon the instruction, suppose some person says a command, come, go, sit, stand up, run, play music. So all these commands are executed. So that is executed because of the commands given by the human being. So the brain understands. But the computer does not know what we are telling. Therefore, it uses the languages like C, C++, Java, .NET, and various kinds of languages for developing the commands. When the commands is given, it will be converted into zeros and ones, that is bits, binary, digits, digital language, and it understands that machine level language, and it execute the instructions given. Now, if it is developed for a particular CPU, let's say HCL or Dell or Macintosh or some other machines, IBM, etc., that may not be feasible to use it in some other computers. So, if you want to use it in the Android, smartphones, will not be able to use it. The same set of commands will be there, but that has been developed as Android, and that is installed in the smartphones. So, how it is possible? It is possible because of this hardware independence characteristics. What is hardware independent characteristics? Any computer, you can download that program or install that program and you can run the show. For that purpose, they are using something called as API, Application Programming Interface. Application Programming Interface. I'll just show it. See here, every computer could have different specifications and configurations of the hardware. OS provides application programming interface. OS provides application programming interface API, which can be used by application developers to create application software. Inner workings of OS and hardware can be done or carried out by the OS. Now the third point is hardware independence. Fourth one is memory management. So as I said earlier, primary memory, secondary memory. And the fifth one is task management. It is having two types of task management, namely multitasking and time sharing. Multitasking means at a time, many number of tasks are carried out. Time sharing, at a time, many number of users are sharing the resources. That is time sharing. Then the sixth one is networking capability. That also I explained. You want to share the data, you want to send the data, receive the data, your OS is used. Logical access security. This we have to understand. What is this logical access security? Now you are online. I am online. How do you know that I am teaching and how do I know that you are attending? That's purely because of the identification process. So our institute, which is a centralized agency or administrative agency, which has connected you and me. So they know I am John Kennedy and they know you are the student and they have connected me. This is called as identification and authentication. For your understanding, I say the other person who is not at all connected with our CA Institute cannot log into this Zoom meeting. So how? Because they are prevented by this identification authentication process. What is identification authentication process? Simply user ID and password. Same way the network banking also. You have been allotted with the username password from the bank or you yourself can create by the application softwares and the authorized persons alone will be permitted. So that is referred as logical access security. The other people cannot normally log in. And whenever you are logging, your username, your password is recorded, that is log. Then your activities also are recorded. So that is also done by OS. Next is file management. So where and how the data are stored. C drive, D drive, files, folders, suitcase, briefcase, many things are there, for storing the data. This is called as file management. And in the file management, we have the permissions. So the users who can access this. There are 100 users. Only the manager is permitted to access the accounting details. The remaining 99 users need not access the accounting details. Therefore, the access to accounting department or accounting files will be given to manager only and not the other users. So this is how file management is done. So I repeat it, hardware functions, user interface, hardware independence, memory management, task management, network capability, logical access security, and file management. These are all the 8 activities carried out by, executed by OS. This is little important question. Application software, as I said, it is for a specific purpose. Tally is an example. They given different examples like application suite, enterprise software, enterprise infrastructure software, enterprise worker software, content access software, education software, media development software. All these for specific purposes. That is self-explainable. Simply go through that. Now, the benefits of application software in does the user need less threat, regular updates. Disadvantages: development is costly and infection from malware. Sometimes they are asking questions from this area. I'm skipping off because it is self-explainable. Networking, as I said earlier, to share the resources when the computers are grouped or connected together, it is called as a network. This is an example for network. You have computers A, B, C, D, all are connected using a hub. Then it is connected to Ethernet. Then on the left hand side, you see there is a file server. On the right hand side, you have email server, and the bottom below that you have FTP server. So 3 servers are there and 4 clients are there. What is a server and what is a client? Server is a big machine which provides lot of robust facilities, including storage of data. Many number of users can log in simultaneously, and it provides different services like HTTP, FTP, SMTP. SMTP means Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, and various kinds of other services also. Since it is providing services to the clients, it is called as client server architecture. In chapter number 4, we have 2-tier, 3-tier architecture. At that time, I will explain the other categories of இது server client architecture. Now LAN is nothing but simply within the premises. There are 2 kinds of communication, like connection-less communication and connection-oriented communications. What is connection-less communication? So you send something to some other person, whether you know that it has reached the destination or not, the communication is forwarded without any acknowledgement. That is connection-less. Whereas connection-oriented, you have a mechanism that when it is received by the recipient, that information will be passed on to you. So something like something similar to your acknowledgement um, card post. What is acknowledgement card post? When you send the data, that is send the letter, the receiver will sign it and he will forward it to you. So that acknowledgement card will come to you. You will understand that that post or the letter has been received by the intended recipient. So there is a connection oriented protocol. Now other things like routing, bandwidth, resilience, and contention. This is also little important. Routing means how the data is routed. That is which route it is taking. So for example, you want to reach from source, namely A, to destination Z. You have to cross, let us say, 3 or 4 junctions. So each and every junction will have a doubt where I'm going, whether I'm going in the right path or not. So the router, you will have a signboard. The junctions, you will have the signboard, which will give you the direction. Similarly, routers will store their routes for different routes and it will guide you how to proceed further. So that is the work done by routing. Bandwidth, it is the amount of data which can be sent across a given network in a given time. Resilience. So normally resilience means, suppose you are running a 100-meter dash. Somehow you fell down. Will you stay there? No. You will immediately get up and you will complete the race. Sometimes you will win also. So that is called as resilience, quick recovery. Similarly, in computer network also there is a failure. So during the time of failure, there should be a mechanism to recover to normalcy quickly. So that's what is referred as resilience. The last one is contention. What is contention? It refers to the situation that arises when there is a conflict for some common resource. What is common resource? When a server is accessed by many people simultaneously. So according to the priority, the data will be forwarded. That is what is referred to as contention. So all these 4 activities are carried out by the network software. So this is how routing is done. So if you want to explain it further, it is a router R1, router 1, router 2, router 3. If the data is transmitted from 10.0.0.1 to, let us say, 14.0.0.1, this data will be forwarded to this switch initially, then to this router. The router will see the route for 14.0.0.1. If it is available, it will forward, otherwise it will drop the data. Let us assume that this is available, therefore it will forward the data to this router, then it will forward the data to this router, then ultimately it is forwarded to the switch. The switch will check to which computer it is diverted and it is needed to be sent. So it will forward the data here. This is how the data is transmitted from one computer to another computer. This is routing. This is a switch. Data from one computer to another computer is traveling via the switch. The data is traveling like this. Now, bandwidth is the capacity of the device to transfer the data or to transmit the data. Condenser, as I explained earlier. So on the left hand side, you see there is a switch on which you have three computers on this side, three computers on that side. Wants to send the data to a particular computer. According to the priority, it will forward. So here they mentioned output port contention at a time. Only one read packet can be transferred. That means at a time only one can be forwarded. Now let's move on to control. What is control? Basically, if you have an objective that have to be achieved, that has to be achieved. If anything which is endangering the completion of the task or achievement of the objective, that is called as risk. So risk avoidance is considered to be a part of the control. So what is a control? Control is policy, procedure, practices, and organizational structure that are designed to provide reasonable assurance that the business objectives will be achieved and undesired events, that is a risk, are prevented, detected, and corrected. There will be some risk that could be prevented or detected and corrected. So that activity is carried out by control. Now, what is the objective of control? Why? Why we need to have control? It is to reduce or, if possible, eliminate the causes of the exposure to potential loss. Suppose you are having a virus. If you allow the virus to enter into our system, naturally our system will be damaged, or somehow the data inside the computer may be either stolen or copied or deleted or modified, or some other kind of dangerous activity will be carried out by that software, that is a virus software. Now, to eliminate that damage or exposure or potential loss, what do? You will simply install something called as antivirus software. After identifying a virus, you will be able to develop the antivirus software. If you install that, any kind of virus for which you have installed the antivirus software, that will be prevented, that will be blocked, or it will be dropped. Only the authorized transmission will be allowed to enter into the network. The remaining transmissions or data or packets will be either dropped or blocked. So that is what is referred as control. So threat means possible danger. Vulnerability means inherent weakness. Inherent weakness means you have a username password, but the password is just 123, or the username itself is password. Say for example, John is the username. The password is also John. That means what? Vulnerability is there. Easily you will be able to crack that. So possible danger is threat. Inherent weakness is vulnerability. This is an example given. Just scrolling because time is not sufficient. So these are all some of the examples of computer threats: spyware, hackers, virus. Lots of identity theft, slow response, computer crashes, rootkits, worms, pop-ups, online predators, Trojan horses, data loss, keyloggers, all are considered to be computer threats. We have to protect it from the computer threats. Now, categories of exposures. Normally, questions will not be asked from this, but you should know what is a exposure. Errors or commissions in data procedure processing and judgment and comparison. Improper authorization. What is improper authorization? The unauthorized persons are sometimes a person with lesser permissions may be allowed to access the higher level permissions. So that is also improper authorization. And inefficient activity in procedure, processing, and comparison. So you have a check mechanism, but it is not checking appropriately. That is inefficient activity. So because of this, exposure will occur. One, error or omissions. Two, improper authorization. Three, inefficient activity. So the controls have two objectives, as I said earlier, outline the policies of the management which are laid down for protecting the environment. Second one is benchmark for evaluating whether the control objectives are met. So, for example, if you want to complete a task within 1 hour, now if any distraction is there or if it is not focused, probably you will have all sorts of possibilities for non-achievement of objectives. So, what to do? Control. You avoid the cell phone, you avoid the smartphone, you avoid chatting with other people, concentrate fully on the subject material for 1 hour continuously, you'll be able to achieve. No, that's what is referred as the focusing things. So it's a benchmark. Within 1 hour, this task has to be completed. This is for evaluating whether control objectives are now. So classification of control. Students, one question will be asked from these kinds of controls. I will briefly explain. You just go through that. I'll give you the background. So just go through that. You'll get clear understanding. This is the important portion of your chapter 3. Classification of controls based upon three things, namely objectives of control. Second thing is nature of highest resources. Third one is audit function. We must understand what is this objective, what is this nature of highest resource, and what is audit function. Automatically, you will be able to understand the kinds of functions casually. First one is objective of control. What is objective of control? For what purpose you are implementing the control? Number one, preventive. Number two, deductive. Number three, corrective. Number four, compensatory. In your book, compensatory is removed. In the old syllabus, it was there. What is preventive? Before it is occurring, you are preventing. Say, for example, firewall you are placing. So, what is the work of the firewall? Firewall just filters the data which is entering into your network. I'll just show what is network so that you will understand. 1 second, please. Network. Look at the picture. In fact, I don't have time, otherwise I'll draw it. See, on the left hand side, you have something called as LAN A, local area network. Local area network. This local area network A is consisting of different computers. Let us say computer A, B, C. Say this is E, F, G, and some name you give. So I have given the IP addresses. So what are the IP addresses? 10.0.0.10, 10.0.0.20, 10.0.0.30. Similarly, 40, 50, 60. This is 90, and server is always having the IP address of 10.0.0.100. Similarly, we are having some address in the right hand side also, right? So this is local area network B, LAN B. Now this LAN B is having IP address of 20.0.0.30. Now this data from LAN A, let us suppose 10.0.0.10, wants to send a data to, let us say, to 20.0.0.30 to this computer. Now, how it can forward? First, 10.0.0.10 through its NIC, network interface card, it forward the data to this switch, and then to router, and this is the internet area. Okay, so it will be forward to the internet area wherein you have so many routers. This router, this router, this router, this router, and ultimately it reaches the router of the next network. And when it comes here, it will go to the server, and then automatically it will be reaching 10.0.0.30. This is how the data is communicated. Now, while it is forwarded, there is every possibility that the hacker who is residing in the network will be able to, hack the data. So to prevent it, to prevent him from accessing the local area network data, you develop some mechanism called as firewall. So this is a network. From this network, hacker is trying to come here. If you give a rule, what is the rule? Here I have mentioned. Allow in the bottom, you see 10.0.0.100 deny all. That means what? Any data comes from 10.0.0.1, sorry, 100, that alone will be permitted by this router to enter here. Other items are denied. Other items are denied. So nothing can enter if the data originated or source of the data is not 10.0.0. So this is what is the rule given to the firewall. This is the firewall given here. Now this firewall will filter the data whenever it is coming from this area. If it meets the parameter, it will be allowed. Otherwise, it will be dropped. So this is how the data is forwarded, and the data is protected also. Now, in this example, I have mentioned here the the hacker's IP address is 75.75.75. 75.75.75. Now, if the hacker is also coming to this router and to this computer, this firewall will verify. This firewall says what? 10.0.0.0.100 alone will be allowed. That means from this computer. So I have not given the name. So this is 100. 10.0.0.100. Now when the data comes from here, this will be forwarded here. This will come to this router, and that will be permitted. That will be permitted. If not, it will be dropped. So if it is coming from this 75.75.75.75, a hacker, that will automatically be dropped. And there is something called as IP spoofing. What is IP spoofing? Now, this hacker will convert this IP address as coming from 10.0.0.100. After changing this source IP address as 10.0.0.100, he will forward the data. Now it comes here, it comes here, it comes here. When the router comes, the firewall will verify. So what is the rule? 10.0.0.100 allow. Already this fellow has modified the IP address. The firewall does not know whether it is sent from the original sender, administrator, or the hacker. It does know only the rule. So the rule says 10.0.0.100 it allows. It is allowed. Therefore, it will permit, and thereby the data can be sent to any computer network. So this is how IP spoofing is done. So while the data is coming, you can communicate anything like username, password, commands, data, and various kinds of things will come. So preventive means before the data comes into the network, before the unwanted data or unauthorized data, it is prevented. Detective, when it enters into the network, it is detected. Corrective, after detecting it, that something has happened, it will be corrected. Simple example, fever. So temperature. Preventive control, drink good water. Don't drink water in outer area. or contaminated water, etc. Somehow corona affected detective thermometer, symptoms, test, etc. Detector. Corrective, administrating the medicines. So that is corrective. So based upon the objectives, preventive control, detective control, and corrective control. Second one is nature of highest resources. What is nature of highest resources? You go back to the same paint wherein I have kept these computers inside the network. Taking green or blue. I take blue. Bigger. Ah. See, this is a local area network. This is a local area network. This local area network consists of server, and here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 computers are there. Now all these 9 computers have to be kept inside a premises, inside a building. Now that is physical safety. Once that is stored, that is kept, you will store the data in the server. You send or you store huge amount of data here. Let us say these are all the data. These are all the data. Now this data is stored inside the server. That is also resource. This is logical resource, whereas these computers are considered to be physical resource. So based upon this, some controls are given. Say here, based upon the IS resources, you have environmental control, physical access control, logical access control. Environmental control now, the environment is protected from sunlight, heat, air, electricity issues, fire, and other kind of environmental issues. So you want to secure your computers from fire, you will install the fire extinguishers, and you will install the computers in the first floor and second floor, not the last floor. And if it is not to be affected with the flood, you will not keep your computers in the ground floor. Rather, you will place the computers in the first floor or second floor. Like that, you take some measures, that is meant for your environmental control. Physical access control. You want to protect your computers physically from the unauthorized access of any person. He may be hacker or not a hacker. It never bothers. We never bother. But the physical safety is ensured. That is through physical access, like lock on the door, biometric devices installed to mark the person who is going inside, or biometrically controlled doors, then deadman doors, and various other kinds of physical access controls could be there. Logical access, you will protect your computer from unwanted access through the unauthorized username or password. So I have given various examples for corrective control, detective control, preventive control, etc. Now we'll see. The last one is audit function. What is audit function? See, normally audit is what? Examining the financial statement to express an opinion. This is meant for forming an opinion. The auditor will say the account show true and fair view. When he will say true and fair view, after applying or adopting appropriate audit procedures like seeing the ledgers, vouchers, daybook, postings, trial balance, and all the kind of stuffs, he will verify and he will come to a conclusion. Similarly, here we are adopting computerized accounting or computerized system management, wherein you will have managerial control and application controls. What is managerial controls? The common application controls like or common system controls, like you want to purchase necessary hardware, software with full uh, protective mechanism. So you will employ only the uh, qualified personnel. Like that, you will have various preventive control mechanism. And managerial control means the ITGC, information technology, general control. Generally, what are the controls? Say, for example, firewall or antivirus software or IDS or IPS. These are all IPS means intrusion detection system, intrusion prevention system. These are all common for all the data center. What is data center? Data center is a place where all the computers, all the resources are kept for storage purposes. Now, if it is protected, then it ensures that the data breach is not. What is data breach? Confidentiality, integrity, availability is not lost. Confidentiality, integrity, availability is not lost. That is ensured. It is intact. Now, application control means in the specific application, say for example in Tally, you will employ or configure certain controls which will not allow the unauthorized processing of data or improper processing of data or improper storage of data or improper transmission of data, whatever way it is, or improper calculations. Anything related to the particular application, we call it as application controls. I have given it in a nutshell. First one, environmental controls. You have three, namely electrical exposure, water damage, pollution and damage under controls. To physical access, locks on doors, physical identification medium, that is badges, ID card, etc. Logging on facilities whenever entering in, entering out, going out. Other means of controlling physical access, video camera, CCTV camera, dead man door, etc. Then regarding logical access controls, actually before logical access controls, we are having something called as technical exposure and asynchronous attack. Definitely one question will be lifted from here, technical exposures as well as asynchronous attacks. I'll definitely explain that and then only I'll move further. But now we will see the logical access control. What are the logical access controls? Number one, user access management. There are 4 points. User responsibility. What is user access management? Who can access, for whom the user ID, that is account, user account can be created, user ID, password, etc. and the relevant permissions. Then user responsibility. What is the responsibility of the user? You as a user, you are not supposed to diverge or disclose the username password to any other person. That is the user's responsibilities. Third one, network access control. These are all logical access. Logical access means entering into the computers. So network access control, as I said earlier, the firewall, IDS, IPS, totally to enter into the computer, sorry, into the network, into the network. So if we see here, let me repeat it again, you will understand. See, this is the area wherein you will try to enter. See, this is the router. Any person, let's say the hacker, he wants to come in, he can travel via this route only. Okay, wow. Similarly, if you want to take the other route, say for example, this hacker wants to travel here or send the data here, it has to come to this router, and through this router only he can enter into this network. Okay, this is how the data can be entered. Now, what our control says, you place the control here. Let us say you place a firewall. So in this place we have placed a firewall or IDS or IPS, so that any data which is coming from this hacker, when it comes here, this firewall will inspect. If the firewall sees any suspicion or it is not matching the rules, it will not allow it. It will simply drop the packet here and it will not proceed further. Otherwise, if it is showing you the correct mechanism, that means it comes here, the parameter which is set in the firewall is matching, you will be allowed to enter here. So this is what is referred as logical access control. Logical access control. Logical access control in the form of network access control. Network access control. Next one is operating system control. What is operating system control? One second. One second, I closed it. Operating system access control means we had seen what are the activities performed by the operating system. It allows in user access, user management, logical access control, identification, authentication, authorization, username, password, that is identification, authentication. All these activities are carried out by the operating system software. Now, that will have relevant controls. Next is application and monitoring control. So, relevant applications will have controls over these access. The last one is control when mobile. What is control when mobile? You are carrying your laptop, you are carrying your notepad or your smartphones, and you are carrying out your jobs. During that time, there is every possibility that the hacker could come in. So the server is safe, but your system is not safe. At that time, these kind of controls. Say, for example, the mobile phone when we are using the smartphones, we are having biometric lock or pattern lock or number lock. So all these things are controls when we are moving. Now I'm just leaving this. In fact, I shared this slide with our institute. You can get it from them. It will be useful for your last minute preparations. Now, slowly we'll go to the technical exposures. This is also important. Therefore, I'll spend some time here. So, first one is data technical exposure. Second one is data asynchronous attack. We must understand what is technical exposure and what is asynchronous attack. Technical exposure now, the data which we are storing inside the computers are getting exposed, or your computer itself is exposed, or your database is exposed. That is what is referred as technical exposure. So here if you see here, compromise or absence of logical access control in the organism may result in potential losses due to exposure that may lead to accidental exposures of logical access control, encourage technical exposures, computer crimes. So all the computer crimes will be carried out if we do not have proper control, technical exposures. Second one is asynchronous attack. What do you mean by asynchronous attack? You imagine a situation like this. You want to send a data from one end to another end. So between computer A and computer B, let's say computer A is in London, computer B is in Chennai. Well, the data is traveling from Chennai to London or London to Chennai. There is every possibility that the hacker could stand in between and he can hack the data using various means. So that is what is referred as asynchronous attack. So if you want to know what is synchronous and asynchronous, synchronous means the sending data and the receiving data both are at the same speed. Asynchronous means the sending data may be faster, fast, and the receiving device may be slow. If it is of dissimilar speed, that is not same speed, both of sending as well as receiving, then it is considered to be asynchronous. Now during this time, you will have some attack that is called as asynchronous attack. So data diddling, 1 minute, technical exposures. In technical exposures, you have data diddling, Bomb, Christmas card, worm, salami technique, trapdoor, spoofing. I briefly explain this. First one is data diddling. What is data diddling? Simply, when you are entering the data into the computer, if the hacker is able to influence you and change the data or alter the data, that is called as data diddling. That is either in entering or during or after the data entered into the computer, you are able to manipulate the data. That is called as data diddling. Second one is bomb. What is a bomb? Normally, you have something called as explosive, and you have something called as detonator. You join it together and using a fuse wire. If you send electricity via the fuse wire, detonator will get exploded, and the explosive will create a huge exploding effect. A big sound will be heard, damage will be great. You would have experienced this, you have witnessed this in newspapers and news channels. Similar kind of thing can happen in the computers also. You develop a software, that software will reside inside your computer, and at the appropriate time, it will explode. Or on click of the mouse on a particular file or folder or any other resources, it may explode. That means it will damage the computers, it will damage the data, it will damage the software. So that is what is referred as bomb. So there are two kinds of bombs, namely logical bomb and time bomb. Logical bomb means on a click of some files, folders, etc., which has been sent by the hacker. Unknowingly, you click it. So even now, our people are getting defrauded or cheated by the fraudsters. How? So they are sending a message saying that if you are in need of money, as a chartered accountant, you are eligible to get 35 lakhs of loan, personal loan. No documentation, no verification, nothing doing. So you may be, very urgently needing, let's say 3 lakhs. You want to have 3 lakhs only. Just to click it. So once you click the link, it goes to the hackers. So the hacker will come into your mobile phones or your laptop and is able to access all the resources. Thereby everything is exposed. And nowadays it is the greatest menace. Even the cyber police people are not able to crack it because of the non-availability of the IPDR and other relevant data. Some people are doing it from Nigeria and other countries where it is found difficult, but they are doing it through Indian, counterparts for withdrawal of money, etc. And within a few minutes or few seconds, whatever is there in your bank account, everything is swindled because for availing loan, you will not you will give your bank account number, So whatever fund you are having, they will be sending it instead of they provide you the loan. So that is the greatest attack. So similarly, they send any link or any kind of attractive pictures, some girl photo, some other unwanted items. So you will tend to, or they will entice you to click it. Once you click it, they will introduce a contamination into your computer, or they will download the unwanted software into your computer, and your computer will get exposed. So that is what is referred as bomb. Then Christmas card is an example of Trojan attack. What is Trojan horse? Apparently, it seems to be a genuine website or genuine software or genuine application. Once you download it, naturally it will expose. Then worm, it will send a virus like software, which will get copied automatically and it will damage the data. Salami technique. What is salami technique? So conversion of the fractioned amount to full amount. Say for example, you are having 99.9 rupees. So 10 paise they have to refund. Instead of giving back 10 rupee, 10 paise, they will pocket it out. So similarly in computer also they will be able to do it. That is salami technique. Trap door, using the back door they will enter. So some loopholes in the software they will be able to enter, or they will be able to trap the source resources inside the computer, that is trapdoor. Spoofing. So I have explained what is spoofing little earlier. IP spoofing. You are making the firewall to believe as if it is coming from the genuine resource or genuine source, and it is allowed to enter into the network. After that, it does lots of damaging activities. That is what is done. That is what is referred to as spoofing. So normally IP spoofing, phishing, many attacks are there. Now let's go to the next two item, asynchronous attack. Data leakage. What is data leakage? Simply, while the data is transmitted from, let us draw it so that you will have understanding. Let's say this is a computer and you have another computer here. The data is transmitted from, let's say, computer A to computer B. While it is coming, assume that there is a person called as hacker. This hacker is residing here. Now, this hacker is able to capture this, that is data subversive threats. Data that is subversive threat. What he does, he will modify the data. Suppose you are sending a, let's say amount as 1 lakh rupee. He may modify this as, let us say 10,000. 10,000. Or instead of 1 lakh, you may modify this as 10 lakhs. Both possibilities are there. Now, if it is modified, then it is considered to be a subversive threat. Wiretapping. What is wiretapping? This is a wire. The data is traveling via this wire. Assume that is a wired network. If it is wireless, then it is wireless. Now, the hacker will come here and he will steal the data. So that is what is referred as piggybacking. What is piggybacking? Piggybacking is a unique stealing of data. How? This hacker. Now, let us assume that a data is being forwarded, or sorry, a software is being forwarded from this network to this network. Now, what happens? This hacker will send us message or a software. If this will get attached to this original software. Now, along with this original software, this fellow is coming into the server, and that is what is referred as piggybacking, coming into the network along with the genuine resource, a genuine software. That is called as piggybacking. So trapdoor allow insertion of specific logic such as program interrupts that permit to review of data. They also permit insertion of unauthorized logic. Unauthorized logic na unauthorized software. அவ்வளவுதான். Spoofing ஏற்கனவே சொல்லிட்டேன். So hack. Okay. Synchronous attack also I have explained. Now hackers. There could be employees, IS personnel, former employee, end users. Everybody can be the victims or perpetrators. Now, what are the access controls? As I said earlier, user access management, you have user acquisition, privilege management, user registration. At the time of entering into a company new employee, there is a specific procedure for user registration. Then privilege management, what are the accesses that can be given, how and where, or what are the data he can access. User password management, strong password. Review of user access rights. This is important. What is review of user access rights? Now you are given a username password. After your password is issued, he is elevated as a manager, or sometimes from manager level, he is downgraded as a subordinate. At that time, you have to change the access privileges. Previously, let us say they are given the rights to read, write, and execute. What is read, write, and execute? Read means you can read the data. Write means you can modify the data. Execute means you can just install a program or a software. So that is what is referred as read and execute. Suppose this read permission alone is given, write and execute is not given. When he is elevated as a manager, so write permission can be given. So this is what is referred as review of user access rights. Once he comes out of this organization, or he is sometimes downgraded, the access rights have to be modified. So this is what is referred as review of access rights. Next one is user responsibility, as I mentioned earlier. Password use and second one is important. Unattended user equipment. Suppose you are keeping your system idle for a few time, it has to be protected well. So network access control. You have policy and use of network. So who can be allowed, what applications can be allowed, what websites can be allowed, etc. Then enforce part. During Corona time, you would have experienced through the particular path alone, you will be permitted. Why? They wanted to check whether you are affected with the Corona or not. So for checking process, they allowed you only through a particular, or they forced you to cross through a particular. So here also in the network, they can enforce it. Enforce part. Third one is segregation of networks. You divide the network into 2 or 3, and thereby you can have robust control. Fourth one is network connection and routing control. So to each and every network, you can place a control over the router, especially firewall security. Security of network services, then firewall, then encryption. We have to know what is encryption. What is encryption? Encryption is nothing but conversion of clear text into unintelligible text. Say for example, you apply a formula or algorithm and you change the words. Say for example, you are sending the letter A, P, P, L, E, apple. Now this apple A will become 1 alphabet number. P will become 16 alphabet number. Another B 16 alphabet number. L 14 K வந்து I J K K10 L. So 11 K kin 12 12 L lotus. Then 5 E elephant 5. Now instead of apple, if you send this 16 6 1 16 16 12 and 5, nobody will be able to understand. So the key is the conversion of the clear text into unintelligible text using alphabetical conversion into numbers. Likewise, if you give the key, you will be able to, decrypt the data. So encryption, decryption. Callback device. Simple example, best example is your missed call. You give a missed call, the other person will call you if you are a believable person. Similarly, in computer also it happens. Only when it is coming from the renowned sources, genuine sources, it will be permitting. Otherwise, sorry, it will be dialing back. Otherwise, do not. So meet at Marina 6. If it is known to the boy, boy may go there and create dangers. Therefore, the hacker should not accept it, should not understand it. So what does it do? They encrypt the data. Now it is becoming OCT KPC. The Marina has become OCT KPC. MARINA. I converted this Marina into one letter instead of MOCT KPC instead of AC, like this. And now the boy is secret. So plain text is converted into ciphertext. Next is operating system access control. Operating system, as I said, it is a mechanism for operating hardware components. The first one is automated terminal identification. So where from the computer is stopped. Suppose you are accessing State Bank of India server. If you are a manager, you will be logging in from a particular computer, a particular smartphone. That is automatically allowed. Identification of a terminal. Second one is terminal login procedures. Through what you are coming in. There is something called as the 1 minute terminal. So terminal 1, terminal 2, terminal 3, terminal 4. You will be allowed to log in through, let us say, terminal 10. So via terminal 10, any person comes in, they will be allowed to permit. They will be allowed to log in. They will be allowed to process. Others, not. Third one is access token. What is access token? It is a token issued by the operating system when a user account is created, the username, the password, and the relevant permissions. So we have seen read, write, that permissions can be given. So once that token is given to the particular computer, it will verify, okay, who is the user, what is the password, whether genuine or not. If it is genuine, it will allow. And similarly, the access rights also will be given. All these things are mentioned in the access token. Next is discretionary access. You give permission to, let us say, manager of accounts department. So the manager will give permissions to various other people working under him. So that is discretionary access. Then user identification authentication, we have already seen that, username, password. Password management system, robust password, password expiry should be set, then alphanumerical, special character, all these things. Then use of system utilities. System utilities should not be allowed to be accessed by all the people, only administrator can access, so that the hacker will not be able to enter. Duress alarm to safeguard users. What is Duress alarm? At the time of accessing the computers, if you are forced to enter your username, that is, you are under intimidation, you are under threatening that somebody is standing near you and they are asking you to give the, let us say, the ATM PIN number for withdrawing money from his account. So he can send a signal through his ATM machine itself, so that the police or the bank authorities will come and catch him. That is Duracell safeguard users. Terminal timeout. A terminal or a computer is not used for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. To set the time, automatically it will be turned out. Limitation of connection time. This is equal to that, but a little different. How? When a person is logging into internet banking, so he can continue his operations, let us say up to 3 minutes only. Within that, he has to execute the operation. Or else, after the completion of 3 minutes, automatically it will be logged out. So you have to log in again. So that's a mechanism designed for preventing unauthorized access by the hackers. Then application and monitoring system access control, information access restriction, who can access, who are not supposed. Second thing is sensitive system isolations. What is sensitive system isolation? Any data, confidential data, which is kept in a particular computer, that will be removed from the area and it will kept idle in an isolated place. That is sensitive system isolation. Even logging. What is even logging? Every time, whenever the data is, whenever the user is coming in and the data is accessed, the log system should be there. Monitor system use. How long it is used, from which system it is used, who is using it. Clock synchronization, so from the server to the server client timing and server timing should be matching. Why? So if you are inspecting or you want to investigate from which computer they have introduced the contaminant or they have hacked the system, the clock timing is needed for identifying from which computer the data is inserted. So control when mobile. So as we have seen earlier, that is related to mobile phone technology or smartphone and laptops. Managerial functions. So planning, organizing, staffing, எல்லாமே managerial control தான். So information management control system, SDLC, system development management control, programming management control, data resource management control, quality assurance management control, security management control, operations management control. Top management and information system management control is related to strategic decisions. So who are all the people allowed to form these strategies, visions, missions, etc. Whether it is according to the approved procedure, that is the manager control. Second one is system development management control. What is system development management control? You want to purchase a new software or develop a new software. So what are the procedure adopted? SDLC, system development life cycle. So feasibility study, technical study, economic feasibility, operational feasibility, technical feasibility, then testing, then implementation, then maintenance. All these things are carried out using this SDLC. Whether proper control mechanism is there or not, you have to check. Third one is programming management control. So developing the program, what are the controls which are kept inside or embedded inside the application software. Data resource management center. What is data resource? So you are entering data from one end to the application software. So tally, you are saying debit or credit. The debit or credit entry you are making, that is data resource. So there should be a control, voucher control should be there. Everybody cannot be given with the permission to enter the vouchers. So that is data assessment. Quality assurance management. What is quality assurance? Any data which is processed should give the necessary output. Last one is last but one is security management control. Related to confidentiality, integrity, availability. You have firewall, IDS, IPS. Then operations management control. Any operations which are carried out by the management should have the controls. Planning, organizing, directing, controlling. All these things are self-explainable. We go through that. Here, this is important. Testing. System authorization activity, user specification activity. User specification, which one is needed by the user, they have to prescribe. Technical design, after getting it, the design will be prepared with the technical experts. Internal auditor participation is needed because internal control system is established by or it is suggested by the internal control auditor. And program testing. So user test and acceptance procedures. What is user test? So you have to give the application program newly developed to the user. The user should get satisfied. Okay, these are the parameters I need. Everything is embedded. If not, he has to redo that. So user personal, system professional, internal audit professional, everybody should involve in. Program testing is nothing but thoroughly tested, and also the logic is also. Logic means software. User tests, okay, we have discussed. இதெல்லாம் வந்து ஈஸி தான். I will just concentrate on testing only. Planning, control, design, coding, இதெல்லாம் self-explanatory. Testing, there are three types of testing, namely unit testing, integration testing, and whole of the program testing. What is unit testing? Unit testing, it will focus on individual program module. So for having better understanding, we have to know this thing again. I will just show whether it is a 1 second. Let me check whether that picture is there. Network ERP. Here. Now we have to understand what is ERP so that you will get a clear understanding about the unit testing. So ERP is nothing but enterprise resource planning software. On the right hand side, if you see, we are having something called as top management, middle management, bottom management, etc. So top management, middle management, bottom management, which is meant for managing the enterprise resources. So top management, full permission, middle management, executive level, bottom management, operational level. Like that we are categorizing. So through them only you are doing the management operations. You are doing the resources management. Now you want to do it using a software. At that time, what do? You develop the softwares. So for developing the software, you develop the modules. So production department, separate module. Sales department, separate module. Purchase department, separate module. Finance department, separate module. HR department, separate module. What each module will do? So I'm indirectly covering ERP also. So what is a HR, human resource? What will be done using this HR module? So whatever the activities performed by the HR department is done by the HR module. Human resource, it goes for recruitment, gives advertisement, receives the application form, filters application form, call for the interview, conduct the interview, conduct the written test, select the person, give the training, on the job training, place them, that is what is placement, fix the salary. After the appointment, you monitor the attendance. So when he comes in, when he goes out, how many number of days working, etc. So all these things are carried out by the HR man. Now, the data related to the employees are stored ultimately in the DBMS. Similarly, each department's module will do the relevant task and all the data are stored in the DBMS. So the whole of the program is considered to be ERP software. ERP software. Now, in this ERP software, you can test separately whether the production department module does its relevant activity according to the expectations of the user. Similarly, purchase department, does it do? Say for example, the list of suppliers, and then the quotations received, and the best quotation. All these things are formalities, whether it is being carried out or not, you have to check. So that is done by the unit testing. Then the second type of testing is the integration testing. What is integration testing? In this, you have integration. What is integration? Production department should talk to sales department. Sales department should talk to purchase department. Purchase department should talk to finance department. Finance department should talk to HR department. All these departments should talk to DBMS. So this is called as interaction. Now this interaction should be there. அப்படி இல்லைன்னா you will not be able to perform the function, internal functions properly. So therefore, we are having integration testing. Whole of the program testing, the entire program is tested. Similarly, maintenance. So there is a possibility that testing and the maintenance, operation maintenance can be asked as a separate. So in operation maintenance, you are having repair maintenance. What is repair maintenance? Program errors are corrected. Then adaptive maintenance. What is adaptive maintenance? Modified to meet changing user requirements. Perfective maintenance. What is perfective maintenance? It is tuned to decrease the resource consumption. That is, initially you consume huge amount of energy or resources. Now, after proper implementations, it is reduced. Efficiency is increased. So these you go through that operations management, capacity planning management. All these are self-explainable. Then application control, as I said earlier, it is meant for, let us say, Tally, a separate application. ERP software, a separate application. SAP, a separate application. Here you should have boundary controls, input control, what input can be given, what not. Communication control, transmission from one end to another end. Processing control, which has to be processed, which not to be processed. Database control, while the database, yes, first is database created. Second one, database, data is entered into the database. Both should have the control. Then output control, to whom it can be given, what is the format, etc. All these things are clearly given in the application controls. Students, please note down this as an important question. Application controls. Then boundary control, the example, cryptography, password, PIN, identification, biometric. That is to enter into the system. There is a boundary which protects our computer systems from unauthorized access. So cryptography, encryption, password, PIN number, identification, all these are identification, authentication, authorizations. Next one is input control, source document, data coding, batch control, validation control. All these things are considered to be input control. Transcription error, transposition error, financial total, hash total, document record, field interrogation, record interrogation, file interrogation. All these things are coming under the input control. Communication control, physical component control, line error control, flow control, link control, channel access control. All these are related to the communications. So network communications, router, switches, hub, etc. All are controlled in appropriate manner. Physical component control na physical access is prevented. Line error control na when the transmission is carried out, there should be no disruption or unauthorized data should be allowed to enter into the network. Flow control means which direction or which area or which computer or which router, which network it is going. There should be some control. Link control now between one router and another router. So there should be proper communication, authorization methodology. Say for example, a letter needs to be sent to a major by a soldier. So what is the mechanism he does? He will just travel through the enforced path to appropriate level, and he will ensure that he reaches the destination properly, and then only he will exchange the information. Unless and otherwise he ensures that he is the right person to communicate the secret message, he will not share. Similarly, link control is created to send and receive data to the relevant routers, relevant. And channel access, through which channel it can be accessed. Then processing control, CPU, central processing unit. Processor control, real memory control, virtual memory control, data processing controls. Next one is database. We have already seen that. But anyhow, update control and report control is there. It is important question. Sequence check between transaction and master files. So 1, 2, 3. I give an example, you will understand. So State Bank of India, you have the savings bank account. 1 lakh is the opening balance. Depositing 10,000 becomes 1 lakh 10,000. Now you are withdrawing 5,000. Next withdrawal is you deposit another let's say 20,000 and withdraws let's say 1 lakh 45,000. Now it is possible to withdraw 1 lakh 45,000 at the beginning itself. It is not possible. So one by one. So there should be sequence checks between transaction. Ensure all records are processed. Process multiple transactions for a single record in the correct order and maintain a suspense account. Then regarding report control, standing data, print run to run control, print suspense account entries, and existence or recovery control. So standing data means what? For example, you are having bank account, the rate of interest for savings bank 4%. For loan account, it may be let's say 8%, 9%, 10% depending upon the loan. So that is what is referred as standing data. So when you are processing the data, if the percentage of a rate of interest is wrongly calculated, the output will be wrong. So you have to ensure that the data is appropriate and there is a control. Print run to run. So after processing 1, you have to go to process 2. Similarly, process 3. Like that, whatever number of processes you are doing, step by step process, that is print run to run controls. Only when process 1 is fully closed, you should forward it to second or third. Similarly, print suspense account entries means any unauthorized or uncalculated or irrelevant data is there. You have to ensure the data, the computer system should ensure that nothing is left unprocessed. So that is print suspense account entries. If anything is there, then something is wrong. You have to ensure. Existence or recovery control. What is existence or recovery control? In case of any disaster, BCP, business continuity process, business continuity plan, or DRP, disaster recovery plan. There should be BCP and DRP, which should be implemented. That is what is existence. Recovery during the time of disaster, you should be able to recover it from the backed up devices. So these are all the database controls. Now output control, as I said, storage, logging of output, spooling, queuing, controls over printing, report distribution. All these are self-expandable. So let us complete this. I think this is sufficient. So the next portion is audit. Audit you can see on your own because whatever we had seen is related to controls. Audit is you are ensuring that the controls are appropriately implemented. Okay. So in audit, continuous audit or concurrent audit is important. So the tools, sometimes they will ask, please mark all these as important. 5 audit tools are given here. Snapshot, ITF, system control audit review file, continuous and intermittent simulation, audit tools. Let me explain it quickly. Snapshot. What is snapshot? Just like taking a photograph using a mobile phone camera or any other camera. Snapshot will be taken for the abnormal or suspicious transactions and it will be forwarded to the auditor. Auditor will verify. If any odd thing or abnormal things are found to be there or suspicious or transaction fraudulent activities there, he'll be probing it further, otherwise leave it. Second one is ITF, integrated test facilities. What is this integrated test facilities? You have a server. In the server, you have installed, let us say, ERP. ERP is installed. Now, when ERP is installed, as an auditor, you will also form a separate entity and you will go to this particular area and you will create dummy entity here, dummy entity. This will be attached with the ERP. Now you will also forward the data. The data is getting processed and ultimately it is stored in the database. Let us assume. Now 100 transactions are done by the company. One transaction done by the auditor. It will be 101 transactions. So the transaction carried out by the auditor should be matching with the results which the auditor already has in his hand. If it is so, the software is said to be robust and it is working fine. If not, it is not working fine. So for that verification process, we are having ITF. System control audit review technique. What is the system control audit review technique? You have a system, ERP, and the file which is having suspicious data or abnormal data will be forwarded to the auditor's file, separate file. So wherein the auditor will have a linkage. So he will inspect the data. If something is found to be odd, then he will explore it. Otherwise, remove it. Next one is continuous. So auditor from here, he'll be continuously monitoring the transactions which are going in the network or which are going in the computers. Then the last one is audit hooks. What is audit hooks? So normally during the fishing activity, a crane will be waiting until the fish comes. Once the relevant fish comes, it will capture it, it will trap it, it will hook it. Similarly, the audit hook will hook the abnormal transactions and forward it to the auditors. So auditor will find the hooked items, and if anything is fishy, he will go further, otherwise remove it. So this is how audit tools are used. One more thing is important here, audit trail. Let me see that. Audit trail. What is audit trail? Trail means the path. Accounting auditor shows the source and nature of data and processes that update the database. Operations audit trail maintains a record of attempted or actual resource consumption within a system. That means what? How the data is getting processed. So a computer A is there, computer D is there, computer D is a server. Now from computer A, it goes to B, goes to C and reaches D. And similarly, he is coming back from D to C to B to A. Now there is a pathway. So as auditor, you will be able to see how the data has been transmitted from A to D and D to A. And you will be able to identify what are the transactions that has been carried out using the log files, the time, the duration, activities carried out by the hacker, etc. So that is what is referred as audit trail. So there are three objectives. This is important question. Detecting unauthorized access to the system, facilitating reconstruction of events, and promoting personal accountability. So detecting unauthorized access means what? If the system is not accessible to A. So in our case, in our example, D is the server. Suppose the D is not accessible to A should not. If A tries to attempt, then that is unauthorized access. Second one is facilitating reconstruction of if he has come into this D, how he came into the computer D. It can be re-verified. Third one is promoting personal accountability. Though a person is having username password for entering into the network and all the permissions he is having. Suppose using the same username password, some other person also can have it. But then the person who was allotted with the username password is held responsible for all his activities. That is what is referred as personal accountability. So for these three things, audit trail is important. So normally I give an example of stealing salt from the shop. The person can be traced by the spillages of the salt through the leakages. So other controls, as I said, you have to check using the methodologies, logical access. Whatever we had seen in the controls, that has to be checked. Here SOD is also important. What is SOD? Segregation of duties. One person does the transaction, one person approves it. That is segregation of duties. So here there are four parameters: transaction authorization, split custody of high value assets. What is split custody of high value asset? If you have a valuable information or information system asset, there should be two username and two password to access one single information. That is split of custody of high value assets. Then workflow, then periodic reviews. Every quarter or every week or every 6 months, the access rights have to be checked. So these are all the important things related to chapter number 3. Now we'll go to chapter number 4. In chapter number 4, the first portion easily you will be able to read on your own, risk control, all these things. But the emerging technology is very important. I'll just go through this from this slide itself. I don't want to go into these portions. First one is virtualization. If you remember, in the beginning we had seen memory virtualization. So what do you mean by virtualization? Dividing something one into multiple or something multiple into one virtually. That is using the virtualization concept. So you would have seen 3D, 4D, all these things are happening because of what? Because of the virtualization concept only. Actually, it is single, but it is seen or visualized as the 3-dimension or 4-dimension. So here virtualization, I'll give example, you will understand very easily. So you have a computer wherein you have the, let us say, hard disk. So in the hard disk, you will be able to install, let us say, two programs. So Windows operating system and Linux operating system. Now, both cannot be simultaneously allowed to run in a single computer. But if you introduce the concept of virtualization, you introduce something called as VMware, virtual machineware, VMware, virtual machineware. After loading this, you will be able to divide the computer into two, and simultaneously you will be able to work in Windows as well as in Linux as if you are doing work in two computers. Using a single computer, you are able to work as doing work in two computers. That is called as virtualization. So this is hardware virtualization. Similarly, software also can be virtualized. Network also can be virtualized, and a lot of storage can also be virtualized, and a lot of virtualization concepts are used. Now, next one is grid computing. What is grid computing? Grid computing is mainly used for, electricity grid, you would have heard. Electricity from different sources, you will get the, power supply. Let's say hydro power, solar power, tidal power, biopower, atomic power, all are stored in a grid. From this, you will be supplying it to or distributing it to various people, various destinations. The destination people cannot understand from where the power supply is coming from. It is coming from the grid only. Similarly, in computer also, you have different computers. You have computer A, computer B, computer C, computer D, etc. Now, out of this, only this computer B is alone is working. The remaining 3 computers are not working, or it is kept idle. So, to overcome this issue, what they do, they are going for, concept of grid. So, they have a grid server. This will assign the task. The user will assign the task to this grid server. He will assign the task to A, B, C, D, etc. And these underutilized resources will be utilized, and they will be able to process the data simultaneously, and the task will be achieved very shortly. So if a computer does the work for 1 hour, if it is divided or given to 10 computers, so that will be reduced to 10 minutes. So likewise, we'll be able to do the grid computing. Cloud computing. What is cloud computing? So internet email is the best example for cloud computing. Google Form is an example for, Google Drive is an example for cloud computing. You do not know where the hardwares or infrastructures are available, but you are able to get these services. So normally they divide this into IPSN. I'm not IPS officer, like that you remember. I means infrastructure as a service. P means platform as a service. Software as a service. So network as a service. So now, if you want to install a data center in your company, or if you want to install a robust information system in your company, you should have infrastructure, you should have platform, you should have software, you should have network. But without having anything, you will be able to, hire it from the service providers. So just like we are hiring the cars from the taxi services or travels agents, you will be able to hire the several Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Web Services, then Oracle also into that web services. All these people are providing the cloud computing services. Next, mobile computing. It is very simple. Your smartphone, your laptop, your notepad, all are considered to be a device which is allowed to connect to the servers, and the processing is done either in your computer or in the server, and the data is able to be transmitted and forwarded. So that is related to mobile computers. Now, next one is green IT. What is green IT? Green IT is very simple. Green information technology. So nowadays you are using the papers, pens, etc., wasting the ecological assets. Instead of using it, if you go for computers, then it is considered to be green IT. So you use the power supply rarely, minimize the usage of the power supply, then you reduce the usage of the papers and other hardware things. You go for total computerization, total automation, total electronic transmission. Even in electronic transmission, electronic usage, digital communications, you reduce the power consumptions and purchase the computers in such a manner that ecologically it is recyclable, and so many kinds of environmental safety measures or safeguards are followed. That is what is referred as green IT. BYOD. What is BYOD? Bring your own devices. What is bring your own devices? You are bringing your own device to the office environment and you are using it. There are so many advantages like employees happiness, and when the software is updated, automatically you will update it in your computer because you are having your own computers without waiting for the company people to install new programs or updation. You will update it. So these are likewise many advantages. Some disadvantages also there. Some device is lost. Totally everything is lost because the data is available in your computer, in your laptop, in your smartphone. If it is taken by hacker, that's all very difficult. So bring your own devices is having disadvantages also. Web 3.0. So Web 3.1 to 1, 2 and 3.0. One on the static, do on the dynamic. What is static? You'll be able to see the static website. That's all. Dynamic means it keep on changing. Whenever needed, it will be automatically updating, uploading, and you will be able to see the current information. Web 3.0 is interactive. What is interactive? The best example is your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter. All social media are considered to be the interactive websites. So that is Web 3.0. Then Internet of Things. This is a new area. Possibilities of asking one question from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 items are very highly probable. It will be asked, I can say. So Internet of Things now, you are having a refrigerator, air conditioner, washing machine, etc. in your house. Your night time, you switched on your AC, your fridge, and morning you switched on your washing machine also. Unfortunately, you forgot. You went to the office. From your office, through your mobile phone, through the connectivity using SIM cards or some other devices, you are able to access your washing machine, that is the thing, AC thing, fridge thing in your house and able to operate it. So that is called as Internet of Things. Through the internet, you are able to access the things which are available in a remote place and you are able to operate it. That is called as Internet of Things. Advantages, disadvantages, a lot of advantages is there as well as disadvantages. Because while you are communicating with your computer, let's say remotely you are operating your computer from the remote side. If hacker comes, he will be able to manipulate the data. So it happens one time like this. A doctor is prescribing medicines over the Internet of Things. So while it is receiving the input, the hacker modified that, and thereby it becomes a issue. The last one, the next one is artificial intelligence. What is artificial intelligence? One second. We are using the robo and other kind of stuffs for performing activities just like a human being. So the computer is using the human brain, its intelligence, and performing its duties, performing its activities. So simple example, Facebook, you are typing CONGRU, immediately it is showing the word congratulations, or you type BIR, so immediately it says happy birthday, and it shows some balloon, cakes, etc. So that is also one of the work of the simplest example of artificial intelligence. Similarly, I can give lot of examples, but time is not sufficient. So artificial intelligence is the latest invention. Blockchain. So blockchain is a new concept. It simply remember like this. In a building, you will have blocks. Block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4. Let us assume this is a common wall. So, or a building or a structure. So, these 4 blocks are united together. What is the mechanism? Suppose if you remove this block, what will happen? There will be a wide gap and there is a possibility of collapse. So, they have invented or utilized this concept into the computers. Instead of this block, they have made this block as a computer, or a computer, another computer, another computer. All are connected as a single block. So they are robust, and the main concept is nobody knows who is a centralized server. Nobody knows where the data is generated. Nobody knows where the data is stored also. Why? Because in all the 4 blocks, the same data is replicated. So once, let us say you have a computer here, this computer is sending or uploading some information. It is uploaded simultaneously in A, B, C, D. If you have another one, E also. Let us assume all the 5 computers. So nobody knows where from it is uploaded and where it is stored and where it is modified. So, but it is robust system. But now our Indian government, our Reserve Bank of India is trying for this blockchain consumption in the form of cryptocurrency. It is on the anvil. I do not know whether it is feasible in India because it will be facilitating so many fraudulent transactions and secret transactions, secret money, hawala, money laundering, various kinds of stuffs. So they are exploring it. Probably it will not be allowed in India. But in other concepts, like even maintenance of the information system assets, they are trying to use the blockchain concepts. I explained the technology in a nutshell only. So inside that you are having a lot of things, but it's not given in our material. So that is too technical in nature. But you should understand blockchain is a robust technology forever. Now, having understood this, let me show you at least one, because now the time is almost 6. So let me take you through at least one question in the flowchart. Possibilities of asking questions in flowchart is there. Let me show you a question. And now, this is a question related to flowchart. I hope all of you are well aware of flowchart. It is nothing but drawing a chart for identifying the processes in it. A company, ABC Limited, engaged in selling computer goods to different categories of customers. In order to increase its sales, different types of discounts are offered to customers. The policy of discount is given as follows. Cooking range discount of 12% is allowed to dealers, 9% to the retailers, irrespective of the value of order. So the point is, for cooking range, 12% discount is allowed if he is a dealer. 9% is allowed if he is a retailer. So two things you have to remember: dealer, retailer. Second thing is a discount of 12% is allowed on washing machine irrespective of the category of customers and the value of order. Third one is decorative product. Dealers are allowed a discount of 20% provided that the value of order is 10,000 and above. Retailers are allowed a discount of 10% irrespective of the value of the order. Draw a flow chart, calculate the discount for the above policy. So before drawing this, we have to tabulate it and chart it down. So what are the ranges given here? Let us say you are having cooking range, right? Then you are having washing machine. Then you are having decorative product, DP. So three products. First one is discount. Discount. In discount parameters, it is subdivided into two, namely one is dealer, another one is retailer. So for dealer, let us say for cooking range, how much it is? 12%. For washing machine, it is 12% to the dealer as well as to the retailer. For the retailer, it is 9% in the case of cooking range, 12%. That is irrespective of the dealer and retailer, 12% is common. Then the third one, decorative product, they are having another condition. What is the condition? If the value of order is more than 10,000, the value of more than 10,000. For the dealer, the discount percentage is 20%. Then what happens to the retailer? Retailers are allowed to a discount of 10% irrespective of the value of the order. That means what? 10%. So these are all the informations which we need to jot down. So cooking range, washing machine, decorative product. Discount is allowed to the dealer. Let us write like this, dealer. So dealer, it is 12%. For washing machine, 12% for the dealer. For decorative product, you are having 20% if the discount, if the order is more than 10,000. If less than 10,000, then it is 0%. Then it is 0%. Same thing for the retailer is for cooking range 9%, washing machine 12%, and decorative product 10% irrespective of the orders. Now we have to draw a flow chart. So let me draw a flow chart. So as usual, the first thing is start. Then you have to give the input. What are the input that are given here? So customer name, CNAME, customer name. Then type of the product. So product type. Then amount of order. So customer name, product type, then customer type is also there. You have to include that. Customer type. Dealer or retailer, like that. So these are all the input we can take. After giving this input, we have to verify. So the verification process is carried out using this. So I give a link. So what you are going to verify? You are going to verify whether this product is a washing machine. So I'm taking this washing machine first because for washing machine only one adjustment is there. So there could be two answers, namely yes or no. Yes or no. So if it is yes, a process has to be carried. What is the process? The process is discount is equal to 12%, irrespective of the retailer or dealer. If no, so this is a no. Then you have to go for next check. What is the next check? I'll take this. The next check, you check whether the product is cooking range. Whether the product is cooking range. And you have two answers, namely yes and no. So I here bring this as yes, and I'm here bringing this as no. Actually, I should not take this. I have to take this for here. But since the space is not available, now after checking whether this is a cooking range, you have to check another process, another parameter. What is another parameter you have to check? You have to check whether the customer is a dealer or retailer. So I say customer is equal to retailer. Now there could be two answers. One is yes, another one is no. So this is yes, this is no. If it is yes, If it is yes, why? You go for another process. What is the process? The process says discount is equal to how much? For cooking range, 12% is given to dealers and 9% is to retailers. If he is a retailer, 9%. If he is a dealer, 12%. So this is wrong. This is 12%. So if no, automatically he will be a okay. The customer is yes, na 9% is correct. This is wrong. Discount is equal to 9% correct. And because he is a retailer, yeah. Okay. If no, then he must be a dealer. For a dealer, the discount is 12%. Discount is equal to 12%. I come back here. Then we go for another verification, another process. Sorry, another checking or verification. What is that? The next product is only the decorative product. So after knowing that whether it is a decorative product, we have to verify whether the customer is equal to யாரு retailer அல்லது dealer. So there could be two answers, namely yes and no. If the customer is a retailer, yes. If he is a retailer, the discount is irrespective of the order. Irrespective of the order, discount is equal to 10%. If he is not a retailer, then naturally he is a dealer. For dealer, there is another condition given. What is another condition? Whether the order is more than 20,000. 10,000, okay, 10,000. Order is more than 10,000. There could be two answers. One no, another one yes. So if it is no, there is no discount at all. Discount is equal to 0. If the order is more than 10,000, the discount is equal to 20%. So now you verify the question. On decorative products, dealers are allowed to 10%, 20%, provided that the value of order is 10,000 above. Retailers are allowed a discount of 10% irrespective of the order. So what is the meaning? Only when order is more than 10,000, 20% is allowed. If the order is less, 0%. So that is understanding, and thereby we are able to draw the flow chart. So first one is start, then customer name, customer type, product type, amount. Washing machine, no, yes. If it is yes, I have to say yes here. Yes. If it is yes, discount is equal to 20%. If it is no, we have to check whether it is a cooking range. If the cooking range, we have to verify whether the customer is retailer. If the customer is retailer, yes, discount is 9%. No, discount is 12%. Similarly, you are verifying whether the product is decorative product. Naturally, if it is no for cooking range, it should be decorative product. Otherwise, you can ask another question also, whether it is decorative product or not. If this is decorative product, you check whether the customer is retailer. If the customer is retailer, 10% it will flow the order. If the customer is a dealer, then verify whether the order is more than 10,000. If it is no, 0%. If it is yes, discount is equal to 20%. So this is how we can set the chart, and we can draw the chart. So somehow I'm able to cover chapter number 3 and 4. 2 and 1 are left. 5 and 3 are interrelated, so you can match it. Only CBS means core banking solutions, which will give you the background related to the bankers. The other items are same. So thank you very much for your listening. If you have any queries, please post it to the Sikasa. Through them, I will be able to clarify that. Thank you very much, Sikasa, for your chance and opportunity. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for the wonderful session. Students will get utmost benefit out of this. All your conceptual explanation with examples and chart and explaining with photos, that was very interesting actually. This will make the students to remember more and more concepts. Thank you so much, sir. I will thank Sikasa for organizing this session. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending the session. Can we wind up, sir?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
God bless you. All the best to all the students.